do you got?
That's a titty fish right here.
Titty fish.
Zobes on the titty fish. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what Peter said, a board with a funny name. We reviewed boards with funny names. The
All the
LibTech
time.
Titty Fish.
We're an adult centered website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let your kids watch this site unless you don't give a shit about your kids. So this used to have 2 tits on the top. Now it's just kind of been rounded out.
It's so sad.
And I think if it's still like last year's Titty Fish, it had like a tapered directional kind of thing, C3 full camber with maybe a touch of early rise, and it's a very technical, you know, like aggressive carvy board that doesn't have the standard like aggressive or even semi-aggressive mag. So it's a very different ride. You know, we rode this with Solomon holograms. What are those again? I can never remember.
DC Shuxon. I know. I
Shuxon.
look at them 5 times.
Shuxon, that's difficult to say.
Brand new boots.
And then we have the Adidas Response and the my trusty good old tactical ADVs. I would say, like, you know, as far as the flex goes, pretty stiff.
Yeah.
Pretty aggressive in the shop and on the snow.
Yes.
It's not one of those boards that changes personalities when you get underfoot.
No.
Then, as far as the camber profile, you know, this C3 camber profile, I'll hold it up for you so you can kind of maybe get in there and kind of see how it, you know, it looks like it's got a touch of early rise. It's got a long nose and a short tail. And it's technical camber. It's almost full camber. It basically is one of those boards that's for more advanced people. It's got lots of pop and drive.
Yep.
It's not forgiving if you get off your game. If you're somebody who wants to skid turns, this is not where you want to be unless you want to learn like we did, you know, years upon years ago when everything was camber. Now, as far as the edge hold goes, unfortunately, we have a demo model. And the demo model was not ready for prime time.
Not so much.
The edges would sometimes grab too much when we didn't want them to.
Yeah.
And then not grab enough when we did.
Yeah.
And that is not what you will get though.
Yeah.
You'll get this is a demo. You'll get a factory tuned, you won't have those problems. But you will say though that this is not your typical Mervin edge hold.
No, not at all.
So, would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Concur. And then, as far as turn initiation goes, I felt this was pretty quick.
Very quick, yeah.
Rolling it over edge to edge, but not
Playful.
but not speedy.
Yeah.
But like medium fast, kind of fun. And I felt like this was the right size. Like this 56 felt kind of right for me and my specs. I think you need the 57.
I need a little bit longer.
You need, like, if they made a 56 wide or a 57 wide. If they do, I'm not sure. You would need this. You would need that. But you have 10 and a half.
Longer feet, folks.
And Peter and I with our 8.5
feet.
to 9s. We're dainty, but
Beautiful. Command.
Precious. Sensual.
wide.
Delicious.
Yes.
All right. So, turning experience and carving. What did you all think?
Delicious.
It was delightful. Although this one, it definitely needed a little bit of power through it. Like like we said, it didn't have what we expected this model to have.
It needed
so,
a factory tune.
Right, it needed
Yeah.
a factory tune, so
Yeah.
it needed a little bit of effort to get it over on the actual turning and carving that we thought should be effortless. It wasn't. It took a little bit of muscling to get it through.
Yeah, it's a camber board. It requires some
Yes.
weight.
And
It
requires
a lot
you
of
to
pressure.
kind of know what you're doing.
You should be a good snowboarder.
Be a good snowboarder if you want the titty fish.
Yeah.
Also, because then you're gonna have to explain to people the name.
This titty fish will bat you about
Yeah.
if you don't, you know.
Slap you around.
Yeah, it will.
It flops all over the place.
As far as speed goes,
hire me, man.
Peter, they're like, Peter, what do you do? He's like, I make dick and
Comic
boob
relief.
jokes. So
I'm the reason why he has to edit stuff.
I edit a lot. And but the turning experience in carving, I think, especially if we had like a factory tuned edge.
Yeah, it would have
This
felt
would-
real
would've been a
fun
lot
and
better,
aggressive.
Yeah, but you
I
don't
could tell
really
that the
wanna take
soul
it out
of this
on
wanted
icy,
to
hard
be
snow days.
just. It wanted to just bomb,
Rip
carve,
down.
rip.
Yeah.
You know, a little twitch. Yeah, would have gone away.
Yeah, didn't feel that wash. You felt like you felt really double ender on your turning. And then speed.
This board wants to go fast.
It wants to go fast.
It's like somebody tells you as you get on this board you can't go below 35.
Yeah.
Or what is it,
else
55?
You'll explode.
Yeah.
55 for the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Sandra Bullock all of a sudden hops out, and you're just like, what? And then Keanu Reeves, and then you know some shit's going
And
down.
you're going on the same spot of the Century Freeway in LA over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. You think you're like, how did they tap into my audio ear pads? But then when you see Keanu Reeves, you're like, anything's possible.
Yeah. He matrixed his way in there.
Yeah. But anyways, so uneven terrain, I felt like
This one might be a little hard to control in uneven terrain.
Just because of its kind of like relative stiffness, I feel
powerful.
like
Yeah.
it might bounce and buck a little
I
bit.
think it could handle. I think it could just.
It'll cut
power
through the
some
chat. So
tracks,
on the
snow.
chatter, on the lower stuff, if you got like maybe tracks after a powder day, or even some chunder and stuff in the normal resort, it's gonna cut right through it. So you're not gonna feel that. But if you got a little bit harder bumps, it's gonna rock and roll you a little bit if you're not ready for it.
Yeah, I would agree.
How'd you feel riding Switch?
It handled it. It's full camera, so it doesn't have the nose on the tail. Obviously, it's directional, but you can ride switch. If you come off a kicker or the half pipe or something switch, you can ride out of it pretty easily.
Yeah, I felt like it was okay switch for how directional it was.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things that Mervin does. Like with almost all of their boards, they're like you can kind of almost do anything with all of them.
Right.
Yeah. They always just kind of make it work that way. Wow, they've already come back already. And then powder, I think it'll be good powder, but maybe not great because it is kind of like
Yeah,
See,
I wouldn't
on-
buy it as a powder board.
on a
That's-
couple
No.
inch day, it's going to be perfectly fine. But if you got more than 6 inches out in the open waving around,
you're gonna
yeah.
you're gonna
that titty
you're-
fish is going to sink.
Yeah, it's not.
gonna
It's
sink
you're
right
gonna-
in.
Or you're gonna have to use a lot of strength. I mean, you got tree stumps, and you're just like, yeah, and you
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
about the name more than about like getting an actual powder board within.
Right.
And yeah,
this is more of that all-rounder, that
Yeah.
more directional, that rider prefers more directional riding, that wants something that rips, groomers, carves really well, but then it's going to be proficient in powder, but maybe not amazing.
Right.
And then, yeah, I'd ride this in the pipe. I'd hit this like
Pipe and park, but again,
I'd hit a 300-foot kicker.
it can do well in the pipe and on jumps, but it's not going to be forgiving.
not forgiving at all.
So if you already, it's not a beginner park board for sure. So this is, you already know how to land your jumps, you know how to land in the pipe, so that you know how to adjust the board mid-air, your air awareness, so you can not catch that edge when you hit. Because if you do, you're going to go down hard.
Air aware.
Air
I
aware.
like that. But overall, I think it's a fun board. I think, I think it just depends on who you are and what appeals to you. I think it's definitely feels like a more functional board. It doesn't feel as boutique as last year's Titty Fish. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
was a fun board, but this, all in all,
Titty fish. And if you care about a board with a funny name more than anything else,
This
this is
yeah.
definitely the one for you.
can you imagine a fish with titties?
in his dreams.
I worked on a salmon boat, man. I can imagine a lot of things. Fish.